How many greens are in a 3,800-pound automobile?
A bunch. That's a technical term. A bunch. All right. Welcome to Whiskey, Lead, and Steel. Feeling hurt while you wait, the official podcast of Aggressive Defensive Solutions. I'm Ric Sutton. Joining me today, of course, in the middle is Jeremy Phillips.
Because he's always in the middle.
Yes. Future Commodore of NavSpec War Land Area GoatRodeo.com or whatever the fuck it is. Commodore.
Sure.
And then Lee Curran, future governor of the lovely and sovereign Commonwealth of Virginia, where America was invented. And when he becomes governor, that's how you'll have to say it all the time. The lovely and sovereign Commonwealth of Virginia, where America was invented.
That will be it.
There you go. Welcome to 2024. A little bit of frivolity happening here. So this is going to be, I think this is going to be a carryover from, and I don't know when this will air, how this works, but oftentimes what happens is we see something happen on the internet, or somebody points something out to us and sends us a reel or a video and goes, hey, check this out. What are your thoughts? What can you tell me about this? We very rarely get any context out of that. And that's fine. It's okay. And then we take a look at it and we kick it around, we chew on it, and we come up with some ideas and what we think about that. One of the things that we saw recently, somebody sent us some training from another company someplace. I don't even know who the fuck it was. But there was a bunch of shit going on and we're watching it. And then there were testimonials, and that's fine. I don't have any heartburn with that. And I'm not chucking rocks at anybody being in business. Do your thing, have at it. But one of the things that I saw was, we all saw this and we talked about this, was there was a series of training. There was open hand training. There was a lot of different combative training going on. And a lot of different, yeah, and scenarios. And clearly in the scenarios, nobody was moving at full speed. That's okay. Because nobody was wearing any padding. Nobody was wearing any, fighting practice gear, if you will, headgear, anything like that.
Don't want to pull a hammy.
Yeah, don't want to pull a hammy. But one of the things, you don't want to accidentally elbow somebody directly in their orbital. But one of the things that we looked at with that is, especially based on what these people said in the after action, what is it that you're actually getting out of training? If you're taking a defensive class, defensive shooting class, defensive, whatever it is, and you go to a class, and during the class, there is combatives, where you're, in theory, learning how to fight. What is the big takeaway from that? And I know what I think is the big takeaway from that, or what it ought to be. And I'm going to go last, but we'll check this one out to Lee, because he came in late because he was organizing the AgDefSol cheerleading team.
Coming soon to a range near you.
For the AgDefSol volleyball team. But, so Lee, when you see that kind of stuff, or if you're laying out training like that, what is the thing that you think people ought to be getting out of this?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough question, because I struggle with any of the things that come across my feed where somebody has a class. Look, I did kickboxing for years, and I don't want to get into a fist fight with anybody.
Yeah,
I don't want to get in a kicking match with anybody. And I'm old and my legs don't move anymore, so I'm not kicking anybody in the head anymore. But I think when you get into any type of combatives class, understanding basics, understanding basic moves based on a variety of different martial arts disciplines is kind of critical to understand that. But what's more is, if you're not doing things in an unscripted manner at full speed, I think if you're taking a class, you're asking for trouble. Like I had a guy that I spent years doing kickboxing with, who ended up into a fight. Hey, I'm great. I'm great in the ring. I can do all these things. I can do all this cool stuff. Some guy, did this to me in a bar, and I thought I was good. I got cold cocked, and that was it. It's like, it hurts.
Yeah.
Because, right, even in the ring, you are fighting with headgear on and gloves,
yeah.
right? So even though you're moving at full speed, it's not the same as getting punched in the face.
No, it's not.
So, but I'll look back and, I'll take a step back and go, when I was leaving the Army, the Army was just getting full swing into the Army's combative program. We did level 1 combatives, right? That was at a unit level, we did level 1 combatives all the time, which was on the ground, right? You had to be, no standing, on the ground, open hand, and, it was all at it, right? Smack as hard as you can smack. No hitting ears, but other than that, pretty much everything was fair game.
Yeah.
Right? With no protective gear. I think soldiers at that point learned a lot. We moved into level 2 and level 3 combatives that had a limited amount of protective gear, but it was designed as full speed, full contact. None of that is in a weekend. None of this can be in a weekend. And I think the biggest takeaway is I went and took a self-defense class. I don't care if I took this women's only self-defense class, or I took this other self-defense. If you think you're going to get into some type of open hand class or some type of open hand
Grappling,
incident, you should be involved in a long-term training program with a qualified instructor. And here's where I'm going to say qualified. This is, I don't know how much I'm talking here, but I'm going to go back to when I was doing stuff. Clark Walters, who was running the gym, was talking about he had gone to a couple of karate seminars, right? And he had multi-time world champion for an organization. He said, none of those conferences are directed towards teaching fighting. They're all geared towards contracts and marketing. And so a lot of if you see karate in big block letters in front of a place, you should see who's in there, right? Because a lot of those guys that are opening those up, here's a course of instruction to teach people to get through to sell belts. There's a belt selling, right? So
Weird parallels there.
it is weird parallels, but my point being is, what should you get out of it? You should be able to get out of it a unscripted, full contact, full speed set of engagements. And if you're not getting that, then you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
There you go. So long way to get around to that last sentence.
Yeah. Jeremy?
So, again, having been to a bunch of different classes in the military under different services, some of them being weeks long, I'll agree. It's not something you're going to walk away from a 8-hour, 4-hour, 6-hour weekend seminar with a real appreciation of what it means to get into a full speed physical altercation. What you can walk away from it, though, with is an appreciation and a gut check, if you will. If you're being honest, and if the course of instruction is providing that to you for that purpose. So, if you walk in, hey, there's a, trial seminar at, whatever dojo, studio, whatever, for a weekend. Okay. Hey, I know I'm down here. I know I'm not up here, and I know I'm not going to be able to do that. So here's how I'm going to react to that scenario. So, either find more instruction, get in the gym more, all of the above, or utilize alternative methods of conflict resolution.
Wow. That is some fucking wardroomism right there.
Yeah.
By alternative means,
Car
it
door.
means
Car door. Hit him in the face with a car door.
go kinetic.
Really
Go
want to fucking
kinetic.
do
Go
that.
kinetic now.
Yeah.
Go big early.
Yeah. So,
And with that,
yeah. So, as I look at it, one of the things that I look at from that old standpoint, and you're absolutely 100% right. Just like if you went to the gun show and you took your 2-hour video class to get your Utah and Florida and Virginia state concealed weapons permits, and you get that, and you think that makes you qualified to carry your concealed weapon, you're completely fucking wrong. You haven't done any of the hard work, and you haven't done any of the work, and you're gonna cause yourself some problems. So if you go, well, I am a middle age, whatever it is that I do for a living, which doesn't involve slinging a hammer or fucking carrying bags of feed or whatever, right? I have a really good office job in a temperate building, and the most exercise that I typically get is to and from the car or whatever.
Like a life coach?
Yeah, like a life coach. But whatever that is. So if you're going to carry a gun and you've decided I'm going to embark on this, carry a weapon to defend myself. So you look at all the things that you've got to do. So you go, well, I'm going to go take this one class over the course of the weekend, and I'm going to learn how to defeat somebody who's trying to pull me from a car, or I'm going to learn how to do any of these other things, and I'm going to learn how to knee strike people in the face and throw an elbow and all these other things. And I've never done it before, and I'm going to take a crash course of it, and I'm going to do, 16 hours over the course of a weekend, and then I'm never going to take another class again, but I'm going to be good. You're horribly setting yourself up for failure if that's what you think you're going to get out of it.
as well as injury.
And yeah. But that's not to say that there's not something amazingly important that you can get from that. And that is this, and this is my point. So if you are you're a middle-aged, middle world, whatever it is, human being, that you don't fight people for a living, and you don't engage in a lot of physicality for a living, you don't shoot guns all the time, whatever it is.
So Starbucks barista, not Waffle House employee.
There you go. Yeah, you don't work at the Waffle House because them people can scrap. But only after midnight. They're like fucking gremlins, mogwai. So look, what you take away from that, if you're clever, and if you think about it, is you take away the now understanding that you are not a badass, and you are not a combative human being, and you do not possess the physicality or the skill set to be able to take on the assailant. So when we recognize, first and foremost, that deadly force is that force likely to cause serious bodily injury or death, we also have to recognize, if you're smart, that there's a sliding scale. Serious bodily injury is extremely subjective, and it's a sliding scale. I tell people all the time, when you were 18 years old, if you broke your wrist of your non-dominant hand, how big a deal is that? And it really isn't. If you're 55 years old and you break your wrist, that's a big issue. That might be a serious bodily injury. You need to understand that. And so when the incident goes bad, the information that you have at the incident is the only information that is relevant to making the decision and the determination whether or not this is likely to cause serious bodily injury or death. And it's the information that you have about the opponent, however limited that is, the information about the environment that you're in, and the information about you. So if you know, I took a combatives class 6 months ago, and I was fucking smoked. I was able to throw hands almost ineffectively for about 7.5 seconds, and then I was fucking spent. And since then, I've been working hard on root beer and fucking bonbon. Okay? Well, so if that's the case,
Donuts.
now what you have to understand is, now if this fucking 20-something-year-old fucking monkey-strong crackhead snatches you out of the fucking car, are you really going to be able to fend him off? Or has this just become a deadly force incident? And if you went to the training to see where your limits are, so you can articulate your limits, then that's probably viable training. But if you went to that class thinking, well, I'm going to spend a weekend, and over the course of the weekend, with no preparation before that, I'm going to turn myself into fucking John Wick or Chuck Norris, you are horribly setting yourself up for just bad shit. And that is no different, as far as I'm concerned, than the people who go and have limited experience or limited knowledge about firearms in the first place, and they take a saturation course and they shoot 1,000 rounds over 2 days, and then they never do any other training. And a year and a half from now, when things go to shit on them, since they haven't been to the range, since they haven't been training, and they haven't been thinking about this, they've wasted their money because it's just going to go fucking sideways. And if you are... I've been in enough fights as a police officer that I can't tell you how many fights I've been in. And in the vast majority of them, I had the ability to use a whole multitude of weapons and get on the radio and call more like-minded people to come and just weigh them down. And if you don't know where the line in the sand for you is, because I certainly did, you're screwed.
You have an over-reliance on kinetics, which we've seen professionally.
Yeah. And it doesn't work. One of the things when I went through the Chesapeake Police Academy, one of the cool things that they did, eye-opening things, was they lined all 30 of us who were in the class up along the wall. And this was a fight till backup gets here thing. And this is pretty cool. And what they said was, we're gonna tell you now, and then you have to start hitting the bag. And the bag's not hitting back, it's just a fucking heavy bag. Yeah. But you have to hit the bag with everything you've got. And when you feel gassed, you can call for backup. And then we'll do the backup thing. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'm not stupid. I'm getting in the front of the line. I'm going to get this shit over and done with. So about a minute into hitting this fucking bag with everything that I got, I'm gassed. And I go, I need backup. And they go, backup is 2 minutes out. Keep fighting. So I'm banging on this bag. It's slowing down, right? And thank God the bag's not hitting me back. And 2 minutes goes by, and they tell the next guy to get in. So the next guy gets in, and now we both got to hit this bag.
Right.
And when he gets gassed, I need backup. Backup is 2 minutes out. Keep fighting. And when the second guy finally gets in there, then I get to quit. Let me tell you something. If you think you've taken your kinetic fucking badassery class, just go to whatever gym and ask them to just let you hit the bag. And you hit the bag with everything you've got as often as you can for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Let me know how long that fucking takes. Yeah. So if you take one of these classes and what you come away with it is, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I know because I took a class that I can't fight. I don't have the strength. I don't have the stamina. I don't have the skill set. And that's why when Bobo the fucking crackhead grabbed me and started pummeling me, I told him, get off me or I'll shoot you. And then I shot him because he continued to press the attack.
And to that end, right, when I used to work out, it's been...
Since a 72-mile run this morning.
Right? I was in my 30s still, right? So obviously a very different point in my life. Right? We would do, a minute on, minute off. 2 minute on, minute off, or 3 minute on, minute off. But a 3 minute bag round.
Oh, yeah.
Look, same thing. Everything you got, right? It's 3 minutes, as hard as you can, right? Because part of it is just that where you are building your stamina, and if you're not doing it as hard as you can, the only person you're cheating is yourself, right? But 3 minutes on a bag and 3 minutes in the ring are vastly different.
Hugely different.
So the as hard as you can is as hard as I think I need to do to get through the 3 minutes, right? Because again, as you said, the bag's not hitting back. And it goes back to what I said before. If you're working in a controlled scenario, okay, in this scenario, we're going to start with the bad guy here. He's going to do this, and then this is how you counter that.
Yeah.
Right? If everything is a purely scripted even at full speed with no protective gear is not full speed.
No.
Right? Is not, right? If you're not getting hit in the nose with Jojo the bad guy's elbow, right? You don't know what it's like to get hit in the nose with Jojo the dirtbag's elbow.
Yep.
Right? You know, I saw a video this morning. Rando video up that came up that I ended up spending way too much time on that I kept having to fast forward.
Was it volleyball?
Nope, had nothing to do with volleyball. Random police stop.
Oh.
Right. And it's like it starts in, and there's way too many cops for the stop than seems necessary, which is what hooked me into watching the body cam video. To not make it 27 minutes like this video was, right? Which I kept skipping ahead, so I did not spend 27 minutes on it. But I still spent more time than I wanted. It ends up with the supervisor trying to get a woman to roll down her window, won't roll down her window. The guy in the passengers, the window won't roll down. I'm not going to roll it down, and then starts holding up his sign. So you can imagine the individual, I'm not going to identify myself where this is headed. Right? I'm a sovereign citizen. You can't stop me. So it takes fully 20 minutes before they extract the individuals from the vehicle. Right? Why? I'm going to call for more backup. I'm laying down spike strips. I have people prepped with both less lethal and a kinetic option if it goes bad, right? They had scripted out every single thing to extract 3 vehicles or 3 people, which included what they thought was a juvenile in the back seat. How are we going to do this? Because anytime you put your hands on somebody, it can go bad. So how can I do this in a way? We're breaking the window, we're filling it with OC, and then we're going to wait, and we're going to keep telling you, open the door and come out because you're going to run out of air, right? And they're going to force compliance that way. Could they have broken the window and extracted them earlier? Sure, but if there's only 4, 5 units there at the time, why not wait till there's 10? Why not wait till there's 12?
If that's an option.
Yeah.
Why? Because I am going to stack the odds in my favor. Because we train for this. We train to do this by ourselves.
Yep.
But I'm not going to put myself in that situation.
If I don't have to.
If I don't have to.
I'm not going to fight you by myself if I don't have to.
So I mean, it gets back to the point of, if the guy that's training to do it isn't going to do it, you should look at the training you're taking and going, am I as trained as this guy here who's going to take a pause and take a step back, right? And reevaluate his options. Because while he's got the time and ability to do it, do you have the training to do it?
Yeah.
Right? In a weekend.
Yeah.
Which goes back to I think it's good to train, that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great to train that way. But that training needs to be consistent and measured with some type of real world stressor in there. Like I said, I got in the ring, I did sparring, I didn't like to do it. But if I'm going to measure myself, I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah. And that becomes one of those things. If you've decided that you're going to be combative, you're going to be a combative animal. There's nothing wrong with that. I did it professionally for 3 decades. Took it very seriously. And we've talked about stuff in the past. I hate to run, but I had to keep my cardio up. So I ran because I needed my cardio. The whole time I worked for the police department, I was even in the detective bureau. I went to the gym. I worked to be strong. I worked to be, capable. I did some ground fighting. I did some grappling. I did some striking, just so that I would. And I practiced with all of the gear that the police department gave me because I knew I needed to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the range and I shot and I took all of that very seriously because at any point in time at work, I was going to run the risk of having to fist fight somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Get my nose broken through an open window by some asshole on a bicycle.
That's right.
Which happened to me. Yeah. So, and then I retired. And I am no longer bound by the law to arrest people. And I'm no longer bound by the law to fight people into handcuffs. I'm no longer where I go, you have to go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And if you fight me, I have to fight you. The result of which is I can now afford to be 115 pounds lighter than I was when I was a cop. Because, not
115 pounds.
Yeah, 15 pounds.
He didn't
50.
lose that much weight.
No,
He
well,
wasn't
50.
that cop.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
Called roids.
the Thunderbolt. The Thunderbolt's good. But yeah. So I didn't need the extra 15 pounds because I didn't have to fight anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm in my mid-50s. As my kid likes to point out, I'm an old guy now. And I got bad knees, and I got bad shoulders, and I got yada, 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 yada. So if you decide that you think you're going to jump on me and fight me, I've already figured this one out. It's going to be a very short fight. You can quit and scamper off, or things will go bad if it goes fairly long.
And the articulation is different. It's one thing. It's one thing to go, I'm arresting you.
That's exactly right.
Oh no, I'm not going to jail.
That's right.
The fight there is I'm fighting to get away from you.
Yeah.
Today, that fight's a different.
Yeah. I'm
reason.
aggressing you.
I'm aggressing you. It is.
That's not going to go well
the same
for
thing,
you.
right? So from an articulation standpoint, it's the dude attacked me, and
that's right.
I'm not the guy I was.
That's right. I'm an old crusty dude.
10, 15 years ago, and
attacked me.
I can't do what I used to do.
Yeah.
And again, right? The outcome's different.
And
for him attacking you is a lot different than, he fought me. He resisted arrest. Resisting arrest and being attacked are two different different things.
Exactly. And so when you look at your training, when you look at what it is that you're doing, because not everybody has the time to. Arnold Schwarzenegger will tell you otherwise, as will David Goggins. But not everybody has enough time to go to the gym and hit the bag and swim and lift and shoot and all these other things. We have lives, we have things we have to do. And you have priorities.
Mm-hmm.
But be honest with yourself.
But be honest with yourself so that you can make good decisions in a very limited amount of time. And that, that's all part of the preparation of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've ridden that donkey into the ground pretty well. Anything else? Alibis, rocks, bottle bomb, hand grenade?
Words of wisdom?
Yeah. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
If you're still here.
If you haven't hit this like and subscribe button, fuck's wrong with you? You don't chew big red. Fuck you.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. And We'll see you next week.
Be safe.
How many grains are in a 3,800 pound automobile?
A bunch. That's a technical term. A bunch.
A butt fuck ton. Slightly less than a metric butt fuck ton, but still a butt fuck ton.
More than a 9mm,
Right.
and more than your hand.
More than all of the 9mm.
More than your open hand.
Blazing fingers.
More than all the 9mm. More than all the 9mm. Yeah. When in doubt,
Charlie out.
hit the skinny one on the right.
Yeah. Skinny pedal.
Yeah.
Skinny pedal on the right. Go faster.
Option B, driver's side door.